had a big factor in this franchise's success, and he was great for me. Has been great for me throughout the course of this year. Having relationships with some of the players in house, and some of the corporate knowledge of the organization.
Right.
I think all of that stuff is valuable. Whoever you have, it was Miles Simon for me in LA. The one holdover from the previous staff. Those guys are invaluable in the transition. KY has become a really close friend. I'm super happy for him. They are beyond lucky to have him at BYU, and he's going to do a great job.
DJ and PK is brought to you in part by UNA Golf. Golfers, don't miss the UNA Golf Multi-Vendor Demo Day happening Saturday at Mulligan's Golf and Games. This is your chance to try out the new releases from all the major golf manufacturers and register to win free prizes. It's all happening Saturday at Mulligan's Golf and Games. UNA Golf, unmatched service, unmatched expertise. And the weather's supposed to be good Saturday, so that all works out.
That's Frank Vogel talking about KY.
The new BYU basketball coach.
Yeah. I got to give the Cougars credit. Tom Holmoe has done a fantastic job as the athletic director. They identified their top candidate.
And then went hard after him.
Top available candidate. I think Madsen took himself out of the running immediately. That's not to say that they wouldn't have hired Kevin Young even if Mark Madsen had shown interest. I don't know that. But the top available candidate, because Madsen wasted no time in putting out a statement to protect his program, and they went after their top guy, and they went all in on their top guy, and they got him. There's never been a coach hired in this state who has been ballyhooed as much as Kevin Young. Now, you love those types of questions.
I do love that. I'm racing through. I'm like, Urban was a pretty big deal. And football's bigger than basketball. But at best, I can argue that.
The Jazz aren't bigger. The Jazz are bigger than Utah football at that time. The sport, football's bigger than basketball.
Right. Yeah.
But, and the reason why I say the Jazz is because he's related to them and he was an NBA guy.
The situation with Kyle was ballyhooed because Utah and BYU both had openings at the same time and wanted him. But that's the situation.
Yeah. And that was more local here.
Right, yeah. Whereas this is getting everybody's attention because everybody in the NBA knew who Kevin was.
This guy was a finalist for Brooklyn and then potentially Charlotte. Yeah. And he interviewed last year for the Jazz. So the guy's on the doorstep of being an NBA head coach. I don't think that's an inaccurate statement whatsoever. And BYU identifies one dude that they want.
And they got him.
And they go after him, and they get him. And they go down there Monday to seal the deal, and the deal was sealed. And they paid big, big bucks.
7 years, $30 million.
Right.
Why is BYU reportedly paying the new basketball coach $30 million? We've got a poll question up. Here are your potential answers. They want to win because Ryan has the dollars, Big 12 money, or it's all fake news.
I think the Big 12 money and the fact that they're in the Big 12 makes a huge difference. There's no way they're giving a West Coast Conference coach $4+ million.
Yeah, I can see your point. You don't have to.
To go play at Loyola and Pepperdine and San Diego and Portland and those places that high school gym that we've talked about, and you only need half the high school gym in some of these new high schools to account for the crowd. And BYU players yell, "Shut the F up." You can hear it point blank.
Word.
As if he's talking to you.
There was one game. There was one Saturday afternoon game at the University of San Diego, and I really thought if the camera would just hold still, I could count the crowd.
Shut the F up! Hey, we beat your ass. Sit down.
Oh, good one. Oh.
Yeah, this is a Big 12, and it is. So you combine all those factors, and that's what you got.
All right, the poll question's up. Go and vote. Why is BYU reportedly paying the new basketball coach $30 million? It's online on Twitter. David DJ James. Paul's already commented. He goes, all of the above. No, it's not all of the above.
I don't think it's fake news.
Exactly. But they want to win. Ryan has the money, and they have Big 12 money. Yeah, I can see all three of those things coming together.
Uh-huh.
And the pressure to win and compete. And like, LSU is good, but the way college sports works now, you can be good one year and humiliated the next. It doesn't take long. Look how quickly Cincinnati went from the penthouse to the outhouse.
Yeah,
They're crashing the college football playoff thing. Someone comes and hires your coach. Your players hit the portal. Next thing you know, how did we stay out of last place?
And BYU basketball can be a real big moneymaker because they can roll in 18,000 people, whatever that configuration seats now, and they can.
And it looks good on TV.
They can make a run. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're wearing school colors, the energy. They got that camera up there getting a high shot of the arena. The whole place is bouncing. It looks like fun.
If you're a non-Latter-day Saint and you're not Mr. Joe Party at every possible opportunity, why wouldn't you consider BYU, especially if you're on this side of the country? Because now you've got an NBA coach. The place is packed. You're a big man on campus. It theoretically is easier to win at a higher level in basketball than it is in football because you need many, many dudes. And in basketball, if you have 3 or 4, you're good to go.
And I'll get you this side of the country thing, but I would also throw in international players.
Yeah, international, but you can't right now make the NIL. So if you're looking for money internationally,
then stay overseas as a pro.
Yeah.
And go that route through the NBA
I don't
draft.
understand why they do that, but that's beyond me. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
You come on a student visa and you're not supposed to compete in our workforce. There it is.
Yeah, but somebody else isn't going to get the money. But whatever. I mean, you start on all those rules and borders and all that stuff. It's not anything I want to go down because I don't understand it. So you got all that going on there. The international, if it's available, yeah. International students that are here, because you have that, how does that work? If they come over and play high school ball?
I guess it's dependent on how they got in the country.
Yeah.
I don't know. We need an immigration lawyer now. I've had it explained to me briefly. I get the top tier, but classic, mile wide, inch deep
Now, my friend's
territory.
daughter next month is graduating in immigration law. She's back in Boston right now. I'll give her a call during the break.
There you go. Yuck! He's gonna book a guest.
Literally, that's a true fact. And so
It's a true fact. Thanks. That's old school.
Yeah.
Yuck, that predates you. You were in junior high when that one got dropped on the
True
air.
fact does predate me.
Jason dropped. That's a true fact. PK looks at me. That's a true fact.
they got a ton going for it. And that's why I said I felt like this wasn't a big blow having Mark Pope leave. And Mark Pope created a lot of enemies out the door. I mean, gosh, man, just in the last 2 days.
People are willing to dump on him.
Oh, my goodness gracious, the stuff that I've heard about him just in the last 48 hours. And a lot of stuff I knew, but it got heightened on that. I think it's a bigger blow losing kids because they're harder to replace. Quality, really good players. If that Chandler kid turns out to be a quality player, then that would be a significant blow. No doubt about it. And we don't know what the other guys are going to do. That's going to probably be decided in the next 3 or 4 or 5 days or so as Young and gets his staff together. I think it's important to get his staff together as soon as possible so you can have those guys do some heavy lifting while you're trying to balance both jobs. It sort of seems like if I'm a BYU fan,
Not excited about that part of the equation.
I am rooting hard against the Suns.
Oh, yeah. That's the easy part of it.
But at the same time, if he's integral, as they say he is, Vogel and James Jones, the coach and GM, then you'd maybe want them to win because that would maybe show, wow, this guy is really a difference maker from the coaching perspective, possibly. We'll see. I think they can win a series. I don't see them going all the way, but who knows?
Phoenix and Minnesota.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think they can win that series. So we'll see how that plays out. But this is good. This is a good time for BYU and the coaching. And from a BYU fan, I'm excited. I'm excited that I got Smith, and I'm excited that I got an Ainge in town because use what's available. Everybody else is doing it. Why wouldn't you do it? I was told that the reason why Pope came in, why BYU hired Pope in the first place, is because he was big time. And when they lost Dave Rice to go to UNLV, they didn't have the big-time assistant coach who could call, hey, Larry Johnson. Call Larry Johnson. And I was a teammate of his, and I know him, and I know all those guys, and they can vouch for how good I am, right? And they didn't have that after Dave Rice left. Well, they wanted it with Pope. And that's one of the reasons why they brought him in, if not the reason why they brought him in. And because I think he was back in Wake Forest, and I believe he was going to be out of a job. And so he wanted to be on the staff at BYU. And they knew that he had NBA connections. He has Pitino in his back pocket. And they thought that that would be important. And this is a fact. Whether you want to believe it or not, I couldn't give a crap. But this is a fact as to why they brought him on. If you knew who told me that, you would say, well, duh. And so that happened, and they brought him on. Well, Ryan Smith knows a ton of people now, and Ainge is a household name.
Ainge obviously knows a ton of people.
In the NBA. And if they can work for you and go Cougs, as Ainge said, he downplayed it, but you're not fooling us. We know. And I'm fine with it, man. I saw you on the road at BYU games 1,000 times over, talked to you 1,000,000 times in media rooms when BYU was playing. Right? He's scouting, and BYU's there. Plus, he had his kid on the team at the time, or some of the time. And so, great. Be involved. If I'm Tom, if I'm KY, be involved. That's only a blessing. That's not a curse. To have these guys here with the Jazz to be involved in that program is good news.
Question up, why is BYU reportedly paying the new basketball coach $30 million? 37% are saying because they want to win. 18% for Big 12 dollars. Those are getting votes. But guess what the leader is? Right? Ryan has the dollars. 39%. So that's just a little in front of they want to win. There's a couple comments here that are pretty good.
What do you got?
Turkish. At Dark Star Travels. Sounds mysterious.
It do.
Because college sports is broken. In order to compete, you need high-paying boosters. It's a standard non-story, made a story locally by BYU and Utah fans who always behave like spoiled children. There was a lot of back and forth over Ryan Smith's getting tax subsidies for the arena. He's bringing in the hockey team. Now he's using that money he's saving to pump up BYU, and Utah fans are out. I mean, a small, loud percentage of them are outraged by that.
Whatever.
Ryan's sitting on billions. He's not.
Yeah, it's so far out of my league.
If
your definition of money corrupting college sports is equal to broken, I can agree with you. But I can tell you from the basketball sense, man, it has been broken for a long time. A long time.
Sam Gilbert, UCLA, Dynasty, 60s and 70s. So you're going back 60 years now.
So I saw things. I was aware of things. I had one coach tell me, another coach called him and said, man, we can't afford what the Coach C is paying.
He's breaking the pay scale.
Yeah. These are coaches that are coaching today. And this was before the NIL. And everybody knew it. Come on. To get tens of thousands of dollars just to get an in-home visit.
Josh says, I don't know what the right answer is to your poll question, but Ryan Smith is putting on an all caps epic shopping spree this week. BYU basketball coach, we assume press conference for a hockey team Thursday or Friday?
Yeah.
Arena renovation or new construction to follow?
Well,
epic shopping spree.
They already renovated it. Are you going to renovate it again?
Yeah, to change the sidelines for hockey.
Nah, just build a new one.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Duane Rankin, Phoenix Suns reporter and insider for the Arizona Republic, is going to join us next. He covers the Suns. He knows a lot more about Kevin Young than the rest of us, and we will learn from him next.
The NHL is coming to Salt Lake City.
It's about time.
I have been waiting decades.
This is huge news.
As Utah prepares to welcome the National Hockey League,
This city has long deserved a second pro squad.
the Zone will have all the coverage from every angle as we'll be with the new team every step of the way. From every moment of the offseason right up to when the puck hits the ice in the fall.
A new era in Utah sports.
Your home for the best coverage of the NHL in Utah is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, join us Friday. And by us, I mean Hans and Scotty G. They're going to be live at Spa Trouvé in Highland, 5455 West, 110 North, 11,000 North. Always bugs me when they get to the 5 digits. I never know how to pronounce that and say that right. Stop in and say hi. Hans and Scotty G will be broadcasting live from noon to 3. DJ and PK, it's time to welcome in Duane Rankin, Phoenix Suns reporter and insider for the Arizona Republic. Duane, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Everybody and everything moving from Phoenix to Salt Lake. I never thought I would say that, but apparently here comes a hockey team, and definitely here comes a basketball coach. Starting to see a trend here. I guess the first question for you is, we don't know Kevin Young at all. How well do you know him, and how much can you tell us about him?
Well, first off, he was the player development coach for Devin Booker. So that's the initial start to what he has been with the Suns franchise. He was on the staff when the Suns went to the finals in 2021. So that's proven in situations of coaching under Monty Williams. He had a situation where he came in and made an immediate impact. He's a young guy in his 40s. And he's got a little kick to him, too. When he was in the G League, I remember him getting into it with some, I think it was with another coach. It's on YouTube if you guys want to look it
Musselman.
up.
I think it was Musselman.
Yeah, he got with Musselman. So he's got a little kick to it. He actually got into it, I think it was the Pelicans, in a game against the Pelicans when it broke out after Zion Williams had a breakaway 3 at the end. And then he was barking during the series with Denver last year on the sideline when Durant pushed Jokic away and Kevin was involved. He got it stuck his nose in that. So he got some kick. He's kind of laid back when you talk to him, but he gets after it in that sense. But as far as his ability to coach, when you've coached in the G League, all you got to do is look at the history of the G League of guys that have came through that and been successful, i.e. Nick Nurse, i.e. Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah.
Those are guys that made that travel to the league. And Kevin, he was making that trajectory. He had been on several interviews, been a finalist for several NBA head coaching jobs. So I think eventually he would have gotten one. But obviously the opportunity came to go back home. He's from Salt Lake, of course. The coach BYU, and he took it, a long-term deal. And, I think it's a move for him that fits in terms of him being back home and BYU, the coaches. When you look at Frank Vogel and James Jones yesterday just raving about what Young brings, I'm curious to see offensively what they look like because here in Phoenix, they ran pin downs and obviously movement. And but, you got one-on-one players here. So, it kind of bogged down sometimes, but just give the ball to Durant and Booker and Beal and let them go do something. I don't know if at that level he has guys like that. So I'm curious to see what that looks like outside of if he has any of those plans in mind. But from what I've seen in him and talked with him, he's got an offense that's beyond what we're seeing now. And so I'm curious to see what that is at BYU. But someone that have been in the running, like I said, for a lot of NBA head coaching jobs. So BYU's got a good one.
So his specialty is offense, then?
Yes. He's an offensive. He especially is an offensive coach. But I think, but I speak of just on the attitude part of him, being someone that's highly competitive. I speak on that just because I think that might translate on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much what that is. You know, can you keep the man in front of you, have an idea of, hey, look, I'm not letting you score. And so I think that you might see that part of him come out on the defensive side of the ball. That's one of the reasons I bring it up. He and I have never went back and forth like that. So, but he has some kick to him, and I think that'll be interesting how that translates to the college level.
Duane Rankin, Phoenix Suns reporter and insider for the Arizona Republic, joining us here to talk about Kevin Young, former Suns assistant, now BYU's head coach. Obviously, when you go to coaching, you got to deal with recruiting. That's a different beast.
Right.
Maybe it's not quite as different a beast with NIL, but it's still a different beast. What kind of personality does he have? So much of that, college coaches have to charm the kids before they get them to practice and start yelling at them.
I think his demeanor will go over well with young players and with parents. Because, like I said, he's not when you're just speaking with him, when you're just talking to him, he's not not a loud, but he's commanding. And the other part of that, he can go in any house right now and say, I coach Devin Booker, I coach Kevin Durant, I coach Bradley Beal, I coach Chris Paul. I was on a staff that had Joel Embiid. Like, he can go and literally say that, and that'll get their attention right out the box.
Yep.
So when you're looking at just that alone, that's a good starting point. And then, like I say, when you're speaking with him, he has a real, low, laid back demeanor. Like I said, that has command. It's not like it's laid back and you can't hear him. It's like it's laid back, but he has a voice to him, and I've seen him recently at a practice. It was on a road trip and hit like 5 out of 6 threes. So he can get into some shooting competitions with guys and probably will win his share. So he can still play a little bit. Played in college a little bit, but he can still play. So that to me, that'll go over well too. If I'm 15, 16, and my head coach is splashing threes, I'm like, okay. That'll earn him some points with some guys. So. But again, he got to learn NIL, and he's got to brush up on that because he's not going to officially start with BYU until after the playoffs. And if the Suns make a deep run, it's going to be time where he's probably going to be doing both. He's going to be doing both anyway, but it's going to be where he has to handle certain things for BYU and then obviously do his job, coaching the Suns. So it's going to be a lot there, but he's probably getting a crash course on what needs to be done in that sense. So, it's going to be sped up probably faster than maybe what he imagined. But as far as players, I think he'll get along with guys well in terms of, and with families. I think that's obviously important. You have to connect with parents, and I think he'll be a guy that does that.
BYU fans, then, I assume, would be Minnesota Timberwolves fans to get Kevin Young on the job as soon as possible. And, I grew up in Phoenix, graduated from ASU, so I've been following my family, hardcore Suns fans, so I follow them, obviously, to an extent. And we know that they've had an up-and-down season, and They had 10 games that were tough at the end, and they closed 7-3, but one of those, I think they were down, 50-2 or something. That's an exaggeration against the Clippers. But
that was against the Clippers, 35-4.
Okay, it felt like 50-2. And they got all this talent, and Grayson Allen's had a banner year and going to be financially rewarded. What do you think about their chances? Because they really haven't had any level of consistency, but maybe you can argue it took Beal all this time, and they're playing their best ball now.
Well, on top of that, they're playing a team that they've had success against in the first round.
Yep.
They swept this regular season series and won the games fairly convincingly. The closest margin was 10, and they held Minnesota to 87 points in that game. They scored 133 the first time they played them. This last one, they were up 22 in the first quarter. It's a bad matchup for the Timberwolves. Not saying the Timberwolves can't win the series, but if you're just basing it off of what you saw in the regular season, This is a challenging matchup for Minnesota. So wouldn't be surprised if the Suns advanced. The next round would be either Lakers or Nuggets. That's a little more challenging, although the crazy part about that is that the Suns went 2-1 against the Nuggets, and they won the last 2 games against the Lakers after the first 3 games were within the first month and a half. They played their 3rd game against the Lakers in December. So they hadn't played them in a while, and the last 2 times they played them, they won both games. So you can make an argument that the Suns, if they play at their best, could make it to the Western Conference Finals. Or, because they've been so inconsistent, could lose in the first round.
This is such high stakes because they are paying so much money to some guys. And that, Durant, I don't think he's going to be Tom Brady and at the top of his game at 44 and 45. So this is it. Now, they said the right things. Are they really happy with him taking this job? Or it's all business and the timing is what it is and everybody just rolls with it? Or is there a little bit, I can't believe he's bailing out on us right now. This is when it really matters. How's this going over?
I guess the way I look at it is, Kevin, he was the holdover from Williams' staff. And when you're the holdover, they paid him, for him to stay. He'd get more than $2 million a year. Obviously, he's getting much more at BYU, but they paid him to, and he's just part of it. He was a part of the transition. They're bringing in new staff, trying to figure out what to do, get their bearings together. Obviously, he was, on the offense in that sense, but I don't think it's upset that he's leaving. Because he's staying with them through the playoffs for one, and then two, I think that Kevin was trying to get another job anyway. It's not like they were like, oh, why are you? No, he was already trying to get an NBA head coaching job. So when you're in this business, you don't look at it as, or you shouldn't look at it as, hey, why are you leaving? It should be, oh, okay, we did our part to help him get an opportunity to be a head coach. And so that's how it should be viewed, and I believe in a lot of respects that is how it's being viewed by the Suns. I don't sense them being upset. I hear what you guys are saying. They said all the right things yesterday. He's been great to us, and we're happy for him. And I believe all those things to be true. But I don't think I don't get the sense that they're upset that he's leaving. I get the sense that they look at this and go, okay, this is an opportunity for him to go back home and be a part of something and with BYU, and obviously this is a great time to go there considering what they're doing with the conference. And so this is an ideal situation in terms of him getting this chance. And there have been NBA assistants that have gone on to be college head coaches. So the move is not a shock in terms of when you think of it like that. So I don't sense them being upset at all, to be completely honest.
We know that the Brooklyn head coaching job was a possibility. We've heard Charlotte,
Right.
And then Ainge in his postseason wrap-up mentioned that he had interviewed Kevin for a potential spot with the Jazz. So that's at least 3. It seems like momentum was moving in the direction of him becoming an NBA head coach. With that in mind, whether it was this year, next year, or whatever, do you have any level of surprise that he said, I'll take the college head coaching job?
If it wasn't going back home, yes. But
Okay.
I think that draw. I think sometimes people, I'm not speaking of anyone specific, but I just think sometimes people don't realize the importance of being in a familiar surrounding. That can make you look at opportunities that maybe you wouldn't look at anywhere else. And I think that's part of it. And then there's also usually this window for guys, that are getting these interviews and getting these head coaching interviews, and there's a window that like a year window, maybe it's 3 years, maybe it's 4 years. Jay Larnega is a perfect example. Like, there was a time when he was an assistant in Boston, his name was out there for every head coaching job. And then up until recently, he was out of that window. So there was a window right now for Kevin Young. And he could have stayed and probably got another opportunity, interview. He could have stayed and did that. But also, look, I mean, if you just look at, teams and things of that nature with the league, when you see how it changes so quickly, there's something also to be said about stability. And based on what I've heard and about the contract at BYU, there's some stability there. And so he's got a family. So there's a lot that goes into, okay, I'm making this decision. And I think that a lot of factors led into it outside of being a head coach. So you have to take all those things, I think, into account when you look at, why wouldn't he stick around and try to get an NBA head coaching job? And if he does well at this level, that might be there for him later. So it isn't like that door is shut now because he's coaching college. That door is still going to be there because people will look at him and go, he coached X, Y, and Z, or he coached in the NBA number of years. So that's not out of the realm of him getting back in. Because guys have done it. They've coached the NBA, coached in college, and back to the NBA. So,
and he's got age on his side.
Yeah. He's not. I love him for it, but he's not Greg Popovich age. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
This guy he's this young guy. I mean, so he could easily be right back in. And I think it's good for him in terms of it's your show. He's been running somebody else's show. It was about time for him to start running his. And, he and I have recently talked about that. It's like, is it time? This was like maybe a week and a half ago. When we just talked, I was like, hey, is it time? Is it time for you to, is it? And he wasn't, like, yeah, it's time for, no, he wasn't saying that, but, he was just kind of, nodding like, hey, it's time. And clearly him going to BYU is an indication of that.
He's Duane Rankin, Phoenix Suns reporter and insider for the Arizona Republic. Duane, we appreciate a few minutes. And if you hear of anybody else in the world of sports moving north to Salt Lake, give us a heads up, all right?
I'll let them know. Talk to you guys first.
All right. Thank you, Duane.
All right, guys.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Is it a family affair with Kevin Young? Yak just retweeted something. We will get to that next. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present...
This is JJ and Alex.
Greg Wyshynski, who covers the NHL for ESPN.
The interesting wrinkle here for Salt Lake City is that Vegas and Seattle obviously both entered this league in the last couple of years, and both had the benefit of the expansion draft. And the expansion draft rules were changed for Vegas to the point where both those teams got real good real quick. If you're getting a relocated team, you don't have the same benefit. So it's a little bit of a different situation for Salt Lake City than it was for the Kraken and the Golden Knights. But I still think they're inheriting a team that has some good young players, a lot of draft capital, and more than anything else, a whole lot of cap space heading into next season.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's a Win Tickets Wednesday. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE wins a pair of tickets to see Blue October in concert at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater on August 24th. Pick up the phone dial right now, 801-575-ZONE. So, Yak, while we were talking to Duane Rankin, you were out there reposting stuff. So, Kevin Young, the new basketball coach at BYU, 7 years, $30 million. And his brother is a recruiting analyst and runs events.
Yeah, his name is Justin Young. He's done this for 2 decades. He now has a site called Hoop Scene, SEEN, where it runs events and also helps out with identifying talent at the high school ranks.
Oh, the pipeline.
So, yeah. Could he be the DPP for the staff? We'll see.
Man.
Kevin, time to go call Justin and put him on staff. You've been in the pro game, but guess who's dialed in?
This is just going to be a new day, man. If I'm Kansas, I think about leaving the Big 12.
They are thinking about it, if they can get in the Big 10.
No, I'm talking about
Pick us.
going to the Summit League, Horizon.
The Summit League. Kansas and South Dakota tonight at 7 on ESPN+.
I mean, this is all about BYU. These are going to be glory days, and they're not going to pass them by. You got KY. Oh, press conference tonight. Going to be televised. Is it going to be televised by BYU TV? This is ballyhooed. I can't think of a better word than ballyhooed. Can you?
Not off the top of my head.
Right.
You're rolling right now. I was just going to sit over here.
The bottom of your feet. This guy, Kevin Young, is coming in. He's leaving on a jet plane today, and he's going to be here at the Marriott Center, the house that KY renovated. Step aside, devotionals. The biggest thing in that building is going to be BYU basketball. You're going to have guys begging to come back, and KY is going to say, sorry, we don't have room for you.
When we come back, Tim Lacombe, Utah Jazz radio analyst, former BYU and Utah basketball staff member, will join us, and we'll ask him the question of the day. Why is BYU reportedly paying the new basketball coach $30 million? We got a poll question up. They want to win, 42% of the vote. Ryan has the dollars, 33% of the vote. Big 12 money, 18% of the vote, and 6% say it's all fake news. DJ and PK brought to you in part by Uinta Golf. Golfers, don't miss the Uinta Golf multi-vendor demo day happening this Saturday at Mulligan's Golf and Games. This is your chance to try out the new releases from all the major golf manufacturers and register to win free prizes. It's all happening Saturday at Mulligan's Golf and Games. Uinta Golf. Unmatched service, unmatched expertise. Tim Lacombe, next, right here on The Zone.